That is what the Houston Texans defensively did to the Tennessee Titans today in a slow strangle of a 26-0 shutout to get them their first win of the year. I am Paul Gallant, and this is the Gallant Says podcast. Hit it.
A radio show host in Seattle called Paul Gallant.
Paul Gallant's wondering the same things a lot of people wonder.
You are definitely living in the hindsight world today, Paul.
Do you feel there's been a consistent theme with the interceptions?
I think every interception really has a different story.
I was just kind of curious what Paul gets to say.
Are you kidding me? Paul Gallant, what the hell is wrong with you?
Hello, and welcome aboard the Gallant Says podcast, a live post-game edition of the show, which you can catch on a variety of different platforms. For whatever reason, things are not posting to TikTok at Gallant Says. I guess my live access got suspended literally after my first live stream. That's wild. I can't believe it got suspended after the first live stream. We'll have to check on that one. We did a live stream watching Texans Titans. Fuck TikTok for that. It's also available on YouTube at Paul Gallant, on Twitch at Gallant Says, on X at Gallant Says, and at Gallant Says Pod. And you can catch it after the fact via podcast on Apple Podcasts. Search for the Gallant Says podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Apple and Spotify. Subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Please do it. It helps me out so much. If you ever want to cut me off mid-thought, super chat me on YouTube or Twitch, and I'll play this.
Paul, stop talking. Listen.
That is former Houston Texan Wade Smith telling me to shut up once over on the Texans flagship, but I will eventually get to your comments. You can also leave them the old-fashioned way by email, gallantsays@gmail.com. That is how you send an email. You can do it on YouTube too. Check that by phone too. 281-836-3912 is how you do it. I changed my setup a little bit so that we would be able to incorporate TikTok as part of the live stream. It seems like we're going to have to get back to that next week. But today, the Houston Texans did what a boa constrictor or a python, an anaconda does to some hapless dipshit herbivore like a deer or a goat, a mouse. I'm just going to curl up around it and slowly squeeze it to death. That's because the Houston Texans' strength is their defense. Not even close. The Texans' defense is the best part of this team. And maybe at some point this year, the offense will catch up. I would think that if the offense uses some of their rookie players a little bit more, there's a very good chance of that happening. But we only saw them playing against the Tennessee Titans, so you got to take everything with a little bit of a grain of salt. We're going to try to get this thing going on Instagram. I'm not 100% sure what's going on with the live stream side of things right now, so let's just wait for some more people to get aboard. I don't know what the heck happened. I blame the internet. I blame censorship. And, of course, more than anyone, I blame Joe Biden. Thanks, Biden. Hopefully this will actually get us up and running on the Instagram side of things. Are we up? We're not up? What the hell's going on? I might have to throw a coffee mug again, as I seemingly have to do all the time. Brandon Hallam comments, Joe Quavius. I don't know what that means. Truly, I do not. Why isn't it connecting to Instagram right now? I'm sure a lot of people are super fascinated by the intricacies of trying to stream on the fly. I guess let's just turn it on to the Facebook side of things right now. since I'm banned from TikTok or something. Oh, USA Ryder Cup. Okay. I don't give a shit about golf. I'll be perfectly honest. So, Texans win 26-0. They had the ball nearly twice as long as Tennessee. Take a look at the time of possession numbers. Texans had the ball for 38 minutes and 21 seconds. Titans had it for just 21 minutes and 39 seconds. Tennessee was 2 for 11 on third down. Cam Ward was 10 of 26 for 38% passing. He was sacked twice. I believe in his post-game press conference, he said, "We ass," talking about that Titans offense. They did run the ball okay, but they had to go away from it, especially in the fourth quarter when the Texans started scoring touchdowns finally. 18 carries for 82 yards on the game. This defense still can be one of the league's best. You got Will Anderson. You got Danielle Hunter, who had 2 sacks and 3 quarterback hits today. You've got Derek Stingley, who had an interception. You got Texans players swarming. All over the field. Jalen Petrie with a couple of tackles for a loss. Pretty good game, especially considering C.J. Gardner-Johnson was supposedly most pissed off about Petrie's contract, among many other things. I don't think he officially went public saying he didn't like Jalen Petrie's contract, but if you read between the lines, why is C.J. Gardner-Johnson criticizing what one Texans player is making? It's got to be Petrie, because Petrie's contract is pretty crazy. 3 years, $39 million for a nickel guy. But he played well today. Kamari Lassiter finally made a couple of plays, a couple of deflected passes. Azeez Al-Shaair all over the place. Probably got away with roughing Cam Ward in this one. And I really liked what I saw out of Tommy Togiai at defensive tackle. He was very productive. He had a tip pass. He had a tackle for a loss too. This defense is going to win them a lot of games against the bottom barrel of the National Football League. And the Titans are at the very bottom of the barrel. They are awful. Cam Ward, I mean, he showed a couple of flashes in this game, but running for his life behind an offensive line that's not very good, a receiving core that's not very good, and a head coach who handed over play calling duties before this past game who also sucks. I wonder if the Titans fire Brian Callahan tomorrow. I think it's certainly a possibility. Brandon Halam says Woody Mark's real name is Joe Quavius. Oh, that's fun. Sneakers Most Wanted says on YouTube, Paul, I'm happy for the win. But God, the Titans are way worse than us. Right. Don't get too happy. Don't get too excited. Don't get too cocky about this dub. It was an impressive win, but you slowly strangled a mouse to death. That's what the Titans are. They are completely hopeless and directionless with this guy running the show. And unless they move on from Brian Callahan, I don't see how things change the rest of the way. May as well get it over with so that Cam Ward can perhaps have somebody to work with that might be here next year. But I don't know how the Titans are going to play this. Are you really going to fire him after 4 games? If you fire him after 4 games, it stands to reason you should have fired him this offseason, which, by the way, is something that I think that they should have done, and I said that before. As far as the Texans' offense goes, now this is very obvious coming out of the game, and Morris Ramirez stealing my thunder here on YouTube. Woody Marks needs to be running back from now on. I am with you there. I am very much with you there. Marks had 17 carries for 69 yards and a touchdown. He also had 4 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown. He was the Texans' second leading receiver in this game. Nick Chubb was solid. 13 carries for 47 yards. I mean, 3 times 3.6 as a first down. But Marks just gives you more. He's one of those guys that's going to give you a lot of plays where you don't get nothing. Double negative, Paul. Why are you talking like that? But when he does make a play happen, which he's capable of, he's going to give you 15 yards or so. And he had a couple of nice runs in this game. He had a couple of nice catches in this game. He gives you 2 of your 3 touchdowns. Touchdowns, what are those? Incredible. They scored 3 touchdowns in 1 quarter. They even got into the red zone. I think you got to see more Jaden Higgins out there. With apologies to Xavier Hutchinson and Justin Watson and some of the other Texans receivers, Jaden Higgins keeps getting open. Stroud had him open for a touchdown pass earlier in this game. He also had Dalton Schultz open for a touchdown earlier in this game. It's time for more of the rookies on the field on offense. More Jalen Noel. Noel clearly can make things happen with the ball in his hands. You gave him that reverse. He gets 2 yards. That's a start. He had a 15-yard punt return. He's a pretty good returner. Give your rookies more playing time. Do not be so adamant that rookies cannot play. The only way they're going to get better is if you put them out there. I get that you're 0-3 going into this game, and you're thinking to yourself, no, Paul, come on, man. Come on. What are you talking about here? You got to be smart. You got to play the veterans. But at a certain point, I think you got to be honest with yourself. And the rookie offensive players are better than the guys that you're putting out on the field. So more Marks, more Higgins, and more Jalen Noel, at least in my honest estimation. I'm going to change things up on the computer right now because the setup I have makes it look as if I am looking off to the side. And it's a little bit bizarre. I changed things up a little bit just for one show, just so I could get the TikTok on, and I'm literally banned. Really annoying. Really annoying. But you know what? Can't win them all. Can't win them all. Censorship sometimes wins. You know? Won during COVID, and now it's winning as part of the Gallant Says podcast, which you can watch live on YouTube at Paul Gallant. Please like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. You can also watch along on Twitch at Gallant Says, on Facebook at Paul Gallant Sports, on X at Gallant Says, at Gallant Says Pod. That's how you do it, everybody. That is how you do it. Shout out to the Ultimate Fan checking in. Check out his podcast. How about that? Listen, you're supposed to do that against the worst teams in the NFL. And that is the worst team in the NFL. Not going to take anything away from the Texans. They finally put together a good game, but it took them a while to really put their foot on the gas. This should have been a 6-6 game entering the fourth quarter. The Titans missed a couple of field goals. Joey Sly, good for him. Guy's got some bulky-ass arms. He does not seem to have much in the legs department. How do we feel about C.J. Stroud's performance today? There were a couple of early misfires that should have been a touchdown. One of them, the play that I referenced earlier where he throws the ball in between Jaden Higgins and Dalton Schultz. But as the game wore on, take a look at the numbers at the end. Pretty good. 22 of 28 for 233 yards and 2 touchdowns. 78.6% completion percentage. Sacked just twice. That first sack where Jeffrey Simmons did the swim move and Ed Ingram had no idea he was even there. I don't know what the fuck that was. That was rough. But to Morris Ramirez's comments, they gave C.J. Stroud good time to throw the ball. Morris gives the Texans offense a B-. Ultimate Fan references the Texans defense had a shutout. Yeah, against a hopeless team in the Titans with Brian Callahan, who's probably going to get fired tomorrow, and a rookie quarterback who definitely, I think, has it, but doesn't have much support around him. I think that considering the Texans offense got going late, they finally got into the red zone, the last play of the third quarter, and they scored their first red zone touchdown on the very next play in the fourth quarter. It took them 15 quarters to get their first red zone touchdown. Whatever. We're trying to be positive. We're trying to be optimistic here. I think that the way that the game went down is a sign that the Texans got to run to pass. I did this when I was on
Hammer.
I did this when I was on KHOU for the Texans Buccaneers preview Sunday night for Monday Night Football that I did. If you didn't see this, I think this is arguably my greatest moment on television this year. Here I am telling you what the Texans offense needs to do. Did I just mute it? I did mute it. We're not going to throw a mug this time. We're not going to throw a mug. Paul, be like Sean Hannity and toss to a clip of yourself saying something you said earlier to make yourself sound right.
Hammer the rock.
One more time.
Hammer the rock.
3 times.
Hammer the rock.
Hammer the rock. I had a hammer and a rock, by the way. They let me bring that into the TV side of things. Stroud got better as the game went along. He had some nice throws to Nico Collins. I mean, they had a 2nd and 33 situation, and they throw it down the left sideline. Stroud to Collins for 35. Collins ran over a defender after beating L'Jarius Sneed on that play. Probably could have scored a touchdown if he stayed in bounds. It was a hell of a throw by Stroud. It was a hell of a catch. Collins almost had an amazing catch, but one of his feet was just slightly above the grass. Stroud had some nice throws. One to Nico Collins. One to Jaden Higgins. But it took a while for that offense to get going. And you got to wonder against a team like Baltimore, how long can you wait to get going? I mean, you got to be a little bit better than this early on in the game against a team like Baltimore. And we'll see how Baltimore does against the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to move over to watch that game in a little bit. The Texans were aggressive on offense. I liked seeing that. More aggressive than you would have expected. They went for it on a couple of 4th downs with C.J. Stroud quarterback sneaks. It looks like that is going to be Tom Brady-esque in terms of efficiency. Could be a fact that they were playing the Titans. I feel like you got to say that about every single good thing that happened for the Texans today. It is the Titans. Caveat, it's the Titans. But I thought the Texans could have gone for it a little bit more on 4th down. They had a 4th and 3 at their own 47 where they punted. They also kicked a field goal on 4th and 3 at Tennessee's 36. It was a 54-yard field goal, right? And Kaimi Fairbairn missed it. And it set the Titans up in pretty good field position. Ultimate Fan says, I called that shit. I'm not sure what you called, but shout out to you, brother. Morris Ramirez says, Paul, the Ravens defense has been trash the last 2 weeks. 3 weeks, I think they've given up the most points in the NFL this season. And I am curious as to what happens with them and the Chiefs this afternoon. But I know that Marlon Humphrey, the Ravens cornerback, was promoting his podcast after Baltimore's loss to the Lions in Monday Night Football, which was a hell of a game, and the Lions are a good team. So, I mean, you can't dump on the Ravens too much for losing that game, but yeah, you got some serious questions about what the Ravens are going to do. So, if they lose today, they're 1-3, you're 1-3. You actually have a chance to perhaps not be the most disappointing team to open up the year. Ultimate Fans talking about the shot play to Nico Collins. More of those would be nice for this Texans offense. This was a tough watch, no? It was a very tough watch. 6-0 game entering the 4th quarter. The Texans were the first team to crack the red zone in this game on the very last play of the 3rd quarter. Should have been 6-6 at that moment in time, but Joey Sly missed 2 makeable field goals. 3 missed field goals in total in the game. Kaimi Fairbairn missing from 54. You can't get too mad at him. They keep on putting him in situations where he's got to kick 50-plus yard field goals, you know? There were less penalties by the Texans at the very least. There were still 6 for 50, 2 holds called on Titus Howard, 1 hold on Jake Andrews, an offensive pass interference on Dalton Schultz, an illegal use of the hands by Mario Edwards and a hold by Lassiter. It's 7-6 Ravens over the Chiefs, by the way, with 6:38 to go in the second quarter. The Chiefs just had a big play courtesy of Xavier Worthy to get on the Ravens side of the field. So now the Chiefs are at the Ravens 4, second and goal. Mahomes, touchdown to... Is that Juju Smith-Schuster? I think it is Juju Smith-Schuster. He's doing his stupid TikTok dance. I don't know how many people used to see him do that before every single game. Like he thought it was really important to do his TikTok dance and post it to social media. To that awful song like... Anyway... Make it 13-7. Chiefs over the Ravens. So, ugly game. It went by quick. Texans defense looked as great as we all know they're capable of being. Texans offense seemed to get going as the game went along. I imagine there's still some frustration with Nick Caley because of how slow things got going. But you got to walk away from this game accepting that, hey, listen, you were 0-3, but if you want to restart the season after that 0-3 start, you're 1-0. You have a strength you can rely on in your defense, and you have an offense that just has to slowly get better as the season progresses. And you hope that by November and December that they're better, which is something I said going into the year. That you got to look at this offense and just hope for incremental progress. I heard Ross Tucker mentioned this on the broadcast. Hey, I mean, if you're not playing that much together, maybe it was Andre Ware on the Texans pregame on 610. I'm not 100% sure which. But if you don't have your offense working together for most of the preseason, barely playing in any of the games, what are you expecting to happen the first couple of games of the season? It's going to take time to get going. But there were some steps forward today. The Titans stink. Their offense can't support their defense at all. And there's a very good chance that the Titans defense was tired from how long they were on the field in the fourth quarter. But this is the formula to winning games for the Texans. Run the ball to set up the pass, wear down the defense, and defensively, just keep on doing what you did in that game. And honestly, what you've done for most of the games this year. There were some big plays allowed, of course. C.J. Gardner-Johnson no longer there. Texans are probably going to point to him and say, like, well, if we didn't have C.J. Gardner-Johnson, there's a chance we're 4-0. And honestly, that's not wrong. I mean, we are talking about a handful of plays separating the Texans from being 0-3 and 3-0 going into this one. But bringing it back to the offense, a step forward was taken against the worst team in the league, and you just got to hope that those steps forward keep on coming. Brandon Hallam says, crazy plot twist. If the Chiefs beat the Ravens, we are the team that could end the Ravens season. Yeah, very good point. Morris Ramirez says some of the offensive penalties were momentum killers for sure, but there were less of them, huh? That's nice. Rick Hagewood says, and you found out your rookies can play. Yeah, and I think we've had an idea that they could. I forget what website posted that Jaden Higgins continues to get open on a regular basis, but that website was right. Higgins keeps getting open, which you'll love to see. So they got to find ways to keep getting Higgins the ball. That simple. They got to find ways to get him on the field some more. Also that simple. Morris says they're scared to give the rookies the ball for some reason. I imagine they won't be after this one. I mean, Woody Marks had, in total, 21 touches. No one touched the ball more than Woody Marks today outside of C.J. Stroud. 17 carries for 69 yards and a touchdown. As many receptions today as Nico Collins, 4 for 50 with the touchdown. Collins got to get the ball a little bit more. Hans Shu says the Ravens are cheeks so far this year. 75 Court Jester corrects him and says they're arse. That's how the Scots say it, that's for sure. If you're just tuning in, Texans took down the Titans 26-0, and they did exactly what they're supposed to do to the worst teams in the league. A slow strangling of a hapless herbivore, winning with their defense, taking some small steps forward on offense using the rookies, and getting actually, all in all, a B- game from C.J. Stroud. I think that was the grade that Morris Ramirez gave Stroud a little bit earlier. If you got any thoughts, you know how to give them. We will stick around and continue to answer your questions as long as we can. We have been going for about 28 minutes, 29. I know that there are other shows perhaps about to start. So maybe you're just hanging out here until those shows kick off. Maybe we take a look at what was said by the Houston Texans after the game. Let's go to their press conference. Are you guys happy with what you saw out of DeMeco Ryans and out of C.J. Stroud? Let's take a look-see. After the Texans' 26-0 win. Here is the head coach of the Houston Texans, DeMeco Ryans' press conference.
Oh man, we're thankful to God for this opportunity. Thankful for just being able to weather through the storm and get a win. Any win in this league is a big win. So really proud of our guys and the way they showed up and prepared throughout the week. Kind of felt it throughout the week. The preparation was right. The attention to detail was right. And the guys showed up and played well today. All three phases we played complimentary football. Huge credit to the defense today. I mean, having a shutout is hard to do, extremely hard to do in this league. So I'm very happy for those guys and the way they played and to get a shutout, which doesn't happen much and hasn't happened much here. Very proud of those guys for the effort that they showed today. Offensively, did a really nice job. I think, you see Woody, young player, rookie, steps in and he ran the ball really well for us, caught it well, made plays, productive, got in the end zone a couple times. So really proud of the way that he played as well. So just overall, collectively, it's a really great job, coaches, players.
He sounds so relieved with that answer right there. Morris Ramirez says, Paul, I missed your show from noon to 3. It sucks at lunchtime. Well, the Gallant Says podcast is live noon to 3. SSG Legs 3 says, I'm just a placeholder. Hey, SSG 3 Legs, suck on my balls. More from DeMeco Ryans at his post-game press conference.
DeMeco, you already alluded to the shutout, but this is the first shutout of the Texans since 2010. So the fact that you're getting out.
That is surprising. I did not know that was the first Texans shutout since 2010.
Lose a skid, two, and then post a shutout on top of that. That's got to, overall, from a team perspective, got to be feeling pretty good for the guys right now.
Yeah, feeling outstanding for the guys. Again, we work hard as a team, right, to be on the details, be where we're supposed to be, and for a defense to go out and play just a clean game. All right, and that's not always pretty. You're going to have issues here or there, but for the most part, it's a very clean game. Daniil had an outstanding game, pressured the quarterback, got 2 sacks. Stingley comes back. He was battling all week just to be able to be out there, and he toughed through it. He was able to be out there and not just be there, but be productive, and he was able to intercept the football for us to change the game. So really proud of all of them.
Again, he sounds relieved there. Good point that Stingley playing in that game. I mean, Stingley was dealing with an oblique injury. So to go out there to get an interception, to be productive, deserves a lot of credit. But the Texans pass rush, and specifically he pointed out Daniil Hunter, really gave a lot of issues to Cam Ward. I mean, take a look at Cam Ward's numbers after the game. 10 for 26 for 108 yards and an interception. First shutout since 2010. And again, I'm just sensing relief in DeMeco Ryans' voice here. Trey of Texas says this game was 3 quarters shitty. The first 3 quarters were dead, both sides of the ball. All of a sudden, in the fourth, they kind of woke up. Would you eat a 3/4 shit sandwich? I would not. I would not even eat a 1/8 shit sandwich. More from Texans head coach DeMeco Ryans after the game.
How much did, from your perspective, that Nico Collins' 37-yard touchdown kind of give the offense spark?
I think one of the biggest plays to me offensively was, we started going backwards, right? We had penalties and we started moving backwards a lot. I forget, it was 1st and 30 or something. It was some spots we've been in. But I was proud of the offense, the way we overcame that. CJ was able to hit Nico down the sideline on a go route, and to be able to see us like go backwards and understand that that's not the end. You can overcome it with playmakers being able to make plays. So Nico showed up really well today, making plays for us.
Yeah, that's what Nico does. There are more guys on this offense that need to step up. And to what we were talking about a little bit earlier, there are more rookies on this team that need to be given an opportunity to step up. Woody Marks deserves more opportunities. Jaden Higgins deserves more opportunities, and Jalen Knoll deserves some opportunities too. I think all of them have earned some playing time. But Trey of Texas mentions, 2nd and 33, you get a 37-yard pass down the left sideline to Nico Collins, who burnt L'Jarius Sneed, who said, when asked about Collins earlier in the week. I would imagine in this Chiefs-Ravens game that's up on my TV right now, I would imagine that the Chiefs would say the exact same thing about L'Jarius Sneed, given that they were able to find Trent McDuffie. Who? Who the fuck is L'Jarius Sneed? We don't remember him. Some people complimenting Derek Stingley gutting it out, Brandon Hallam, and Morris Ramirez. Hallam says that, hey, Hunter feasts on bad teams, Anderson feasts on good teams, balance. I mean, look, they're 2 very good players. It's great that the Texans have both of them. More from DeMeco Ryans' post-game press conference.
Coach,
Can I gotta stop calling him coach?
Coming off that losing streak, how much weight off the shoulders does it feel like is off your shoulders and the team's shoulders after going out there, getting the shutout, clean games, multiple offensive scores? Does it feel like you guys have a sense of relief now that you can take them to Baltimore?
It's not about getting a sense of relief. It's about when we go out and execute and play the right way, that's what it can look like. And so we've been there. We just haven't played clean football. The offense did a really nice job of protecting the ball today. We didn't turn the ball over. We took it away. Tommy punted the ball. Outstanding.
Not outstanding. That one punt was brutal. The one that was out of bounds at like the 20.
Was backed up opportunities.
You did have that one punt that was like 80 yards. It felt like, at least. But no. Outstanding. Come on.
Emi did a great job of kicking it off. Our kickoff team covered really well.
Kicking it off, clarification. You did miss a field goal, but it was 54 yards.
Versus a good returner. It's just about us playing complementary football and playing clean football. We did that today, and that's the result. And that's what we expect when we do things the right way.
DeMeco, at what point did you feel like the offense went on the explosion, and what do you feel like allowed it to really, turn it up, especially in those last 2 quarters?
I thought our offense just stayed with it. We ran the ball well, and that's allowed us to continue to sustain drives. We haven't sustained drives in our previous games. We're able to win the time possession battle, and that starts with the running game. So when you're able to be productive in the run game, backs making some nice plays, Chubb and Woody, both guys had really nice runs. O-line did a really nice job, but when you're able to stay on track in the run game, CJ made some great decisions with the football as well that allowed us to just stay on the field and stay after it. Right, it's the most plays we've ran in the game offensively this year. Right, that just shows if we stay on track, we stay on schedule, we can be a productive offense.
Yeah. But that's every offense in the league. And again, it's the Titans. It's the Titans. How much longer did DeMeco go? Actually, since they won, too, we might hear from more than just C.J. Stroud after the game. But let's keep listening to DeMeco Ryans, head coach of the Texans, after a 26-0 win over the Titans.
DeMeco, not only did Woody get the touchdown, but Jaden Higgins gets his first touchdown today. What have you noticed from him and his growth? And for him to be able to get this score, just kind of get the monkey off the back and add more of a validity to the offense.
Yeah, it's really an outstanding play by CJ, right, of making a check, getting to that play.
That's interesting to note, that talking about the Jaden Higgins touchdown pass, that Stroud apparently checked into that play. And, you know, we've all been wondering what Stroud's going to do at the line of scrimmage if he gets a little bit more control. And, hey, on that play specifically, more control, checks into a throw, chucks it downfield to Higgins, touchdown. Could have had Higgins for another touchdown earlier in this game. It's going to take time for Stroud to become adept, and then eventually an expert, and then eventually a master as far as being a guy at the line of scrimmage who's making some changes on the fly. I think I'm not alone in looking at Stroud as somebody who's got a great football IQ, but it takes time. What is Malcolm Gladwell's insufferable thing? 10,000 hours, blah, you know, but it takes time to master something. So hopefully we will see Stroud continue to do that on the offensive side of things. More from Texans head coach DeMeco Ryans after the game.
Outstanding throw by him, finishing in the end zone with the catch. The main thing about our offense, all the guys, I wanted to see our guys play with some excitement, play with some enthusiasm, and that's what I saw today. Guys enjoy playing football, and that only happens when you're making plays. So when you execute, you make plays, you can have that enthusiasm. So that's what I liked, and congrats to Higgs for getting his first touchdown as well.
More on the rookies there. Obviously, when you select these guys in April, you have hopes that they can impact the team right away.
I'm just going to say for a moment, DeMeco wanted them to have fun, and to quote a wise philosopher named SpongeBob, F is for football with good execution, U is for under 0 points by the Titans, N is for anywhere, anytime at all, getting in the red zone multiple times. See, it just rolls right off the tongue. Everyone knows that song. More from DeMeco Ryans, who seems relieved after the Texans took down the Titans.
What can you say about the impact that both the rookies made in Higgins and Woody?
Yeah, both our rookies stepped up and made plays to help us win the game. And that's what you expect when you're drafting rookies. I always tell rookies is not wait till we got time for you to wait and grow and develop. Like, we want to see these guys be playmakers right now. So we have a lot of young guys. Tay is stepping in at left tackle, doing a good job. Noel has become our returner. He's doing a really nice job. He had a nice punt return today. And Woody, Higgs, all these guys are stepping up, making plays. So proud of the rookie class, just for them just sticking with it, growing, developing, while also making plays.
He says, hey, I want you guys out there. But I do think, you know, to what he was talking about, like, he's kind of made them wait. You can't get better as a player unless you play. And I just find it surprising that the Texans have looked at themselves in the mirror and said, you know what? We're going to keep putting Justin Watson out there. We're going to put Xavier Hutchinson out there at receiver over Higgins. And at running back, I mean, the Daria Gunbawale stuff, the first couple of weeks of the year, like, I get that they like him, but, I mean, in retrospect, what a mistake. Chiefs just scored again, and they are up 20-7 on the Baltimore Ravens. Isaiah Pacheco catches a touchdown. So Texans, Ravens trending towards being a matchup of 1 and 3 teams. More from DeMeco Ryans after today's 26-0 win.
Hey, DeMeco, you've talked since the offseason about the need to run the ball. What was the big difference, kind of a two-part, today that allowed you guys to run the ball successfully? And also, CJ took some hits more so early, but for him to be able to stand in and really, I guess, stay focused late in the game.
Yeah, Kim, I think we stayed committed to the run, right? We called it. We stayed committed. Kaylee did a good job of calling it and staying with it. And when you stay with it, our guys made some guys, Woody and Chubb, they made guys miss on the second level, which we were able to get some positive runs over 5 yards, which allowed us to be in second and short, third and short. We were able to still run the ball. Some fourth downs we were able to convert there. So when you stay with it and you're not having a ton of negative plays like we had in our first 3 games, like, it just shows you can stay with the run. It allows you to, have some positive plays in the run, and you call more runs when you see the production, right, that shows up. And yeah, CJ, he took a couple hits there in the pocket. He's toughed it out, got up, and he kept battling. All right, and that's what we expect from him. You know, we want to protect it better, but sometimes quarterbacks, you may get hit, but it's about being tough, showing the resolve to continue to fight and battle for your team, and he did that today.
Couple of things to talk about, and that D'Amico answer, talking about the running game, what allowed the running game to work. He is right in that if you don't have negative plays, you can establish the run. You can hammer the rock. If you keep on finding yourself in situations where it's not 2nd and a mile or 2nd and 33, where the Texans had to throw their way out of. And this is probably going to piss off a lot of the analytically inclined people. But, yeah, you do have to stick with it. I know that pisses a lot of people off. And, hey, you can't stick with it if you're getting 1 yard a carry, 2 yards a carry. But Woody Marks is clearly capable of doing that. Bringing it to Stroud, I thought Stroud, this was a game for Stroud where I think he should be looking at the positives and saying, I can keep this going forward. Because he did shake off that big hit he took right before halftime. He was limping. And yeah, it took a little bit of time for the Texans to finally get into the red zone to eventually score a touchdown, but he made some really nice throws in this game at the end after missing some, I think, easy throws early on. More from D'Amico Ryans, head coach of your Houston Texans, after the game.
On that note, Coach, outside of the physical attributes that T.J. Stroud brings to the team after a couple of close call games, just a mental note on CJ. Where is he at, and what does he bring to the team?
I think CJ was in a really good spot at his we'll go back and watch the film, but to me, it felt like he made really great decisions with the football today. Probably his best game of the year so far to date. And we just want to continue to build off of where we are now, the outing that he had today.
Not probably. I mean, definitely. Not close. Not close. Definitely his best game. It's the Titans. Take it with a grain of salt, but definitely something to build off of going forward. More D'Amico.
We just got to keep building, stacking off of that one. But I was impressed with what he did today.
I know there's been a moment or two in the first few games from the defense that you didn't like. Is this a pretty easy one to kind of show them and say, hey, when we do what we're capable of, this is what we can accomplish?
That's what I've been trying to tell them. No, it's just guys just being in the right spot, right? No grenades. I call no grenades going off in the back. Nobody's running free. Everybody was disciplined. They were where they're supposed to be. Yeah, they're going to make some plays. Good team. And Cam, he got out, threw the ball back across the field like we knew he could do. He made a nice play, but guys, they stayed with it. We kept pressing. Our D-line did a great job. We did a really good job in the run game, right? And then our D-line really caused havoc in the passing game. The guys covered really well today.
It's funny hearing him finally laugh a little bit after a win. Again, I think the general feeling, you take a look at D'Amico Ryans' mood there, is just a sense of relief. Because, yeah, you beat the Titans. You beat them easily. Oh, damn, that was a hell of a play by Quinion Mitchell for the Colts. Holy shit. Did he fumble the ball out of the back of the end zone like an idiot? I think he did. That was an incredible play to get to the goal line. He's very mad at himself. Anyway, more from D'Amico Ryans, head coach of the Texans, and we'll get a little CJ Stroud before we get out of here.
D'Amico, how important was it to have this type of offensive performance?
Very important. Do we need to answer that question?
To kind of maybe change the narrative a little bit and show these guys what this can be like.
Yeah. For me, it's not about a narrative. Like, I speak in what's really happening for our guys. So we always look at the film and we can see what's really going on, right? And when you play clean, that's what we talk. We got to play clean, get out of our own way so we can see what type of offense we really have. Because first 3 games, we don't know who we are because we continue to hurt ourselves so much. So we'll see. This is a start, and we'll see how we can continue to build off of this. Each week presents its set of challenges, but I think it's really important for guys just to go out, win a football game, have a good game, offense, defense, special teams, just to really continue to build that confidence. Like you got your first one, like you can get it done, right? You have to get it done to kind of have that belief. And so our guys do believe. They believe in themselves, believe in each other, and we just have to keep working, keep getting better, right? This doesn't mean anything. We're on to the next one. We got
and it's the Titans
to keep getting better throughout this week. All right,
Coach.
And one last question. D'Amico's like, fuck, I wanted to get out of here.
Coach, since we
Stop calling him coach. Please.
when you guys have mentioned, we're close, right? And today you go out there and put a 26 shirt out, but you also highlighted playing complementary football between Kaylee and CJ Stroud. What's something that you can kind of echo to them personally? Like, you guys came out today and played complementary play calling and quarterbacking.
Oh my
clean
God.
football. How do you continue to get them on the same
D'Amico's
page?
like, please. Look at his face. D'Amico's like, I don't. This question is stupid. Why am I answering this?
These performances are not
He's still asking it.
too few and far between.
Yeah, first off, it's not that we are close as a team. When I said that, I'm talking about our games were close. We're right there in the game. We just didn't finish the game, right? When it comes to Kaylee and with CJ, those personal things, they'll stay personal. So we're good. Those guys did a good job today, and we'll stay after it, man. We'll get after it again next week, get after the game plan, and put our head down, go back to work. All right, thank you.
All right, so that's D'Amico Ryans, head coach of the Texans. I think more relieved than anything. Let's see what CJ Stroud had to say after the game. If you got any questions, YouTube at Paul Gallant. Like and subscribe if you're hanging out for the first time. On Twitch at Gallant Says. On Facebook at Paul Gallant Sports. I think we are up and running on that. On Twitch at Gallant Says. On Instagram at Sports Gallant. I'm so annoyed that I got suspended from TikTok after my first live stream on TikTok. What a bunch of bullshit. Here is Texans quarterback CJ Stroud after today's 26-0 win. And if you got any questions, you got any thoughts before we get out of here, hit me up. We're getting close to the end of the road. CJ Stroud, everybody.
I think, the way teams are playing us and, the way our offense is kind of built is just death by 1,000 cuts, take
Death by 1,000 cuts. No, that's not O.J. Simpson. That's a reference to the movie Psycho. Also, death by 1,000 cuts. I don't know how many cuts Julius Caesar got, but yeah, you could say the Texans offensively did to the Titans what the Roman Senate did to Julius Caesar. How many times was Julius Caesar stabbed? 23 times. 23. Wow, they actually have that number right off the top. More from Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud after a 26-0 win.
Taking what the defense gives me, and then finally, I think after you hit a big play or like a big play comes is when everything kind of opens up. So I feel like that's what happened.
Death by 1,000 cuts. The story of the Texans offense in 2025. By the way, C.J. Stroud not wearing a hat, which a lot of people are happy about. No beanie, no baseball cap.
I think it did. I seen Titus came.
I do think it would have been funny if he had worn an Astros hat after they got eliminated, but he didn't.
To me, it was like, be happy, bro. That was a big play. And then the sideline was turned up, like that stuff bring energy, big plays like that. And Nico did a great job, a lot of respect for Snead. He's a good corner in this league, one of the best. And I thought him and Nick battled, and he got over the top and just try to give him a shot. But yeah, big plays like that definitely give us energy that we need, like going forward.
Stroud's a big believer in sideline energy. Sideline energy is the way. All right. More from Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud.
What do you hope this win and how you all perform in the second half can do for you all in the future?
I think it just, sometimes it's that one play that like kicks it off to like get everything rolling. We kind of had that my rookie year. I think I want to say like who we played week 3 against the Jazz. I had like Tank on a post, and after that, it seemed like we were just rolling. And so, like, sometimes it just takes that one play, that one drive, that one, point of emphasis to like finally hit, to finally, you know, get the things rolling that, you know, we know that we can do. So I think that's kind of the cool thing about, you know, playing football is like it's different every year, you know, it's different every game, and you just got to find the niche. And I think maybe hopefully I did that, but we got to just go back to practice and continue to get better.
He's right about that. So get back to practice, they will. Try and get better. I really believe that running the football is going to help the Texans set up their passing game. And Harrison Butker just missed a field goal. Chiefs could have made it a 23-7 lead on Baltimore. Baltimore's looking rough out there. John Harbaugh's looking like Jason Garrett on the sideline clapping. But running the football with Woody Marks and a little bit of Chubb, that worked today, and I think it helps your offensive line out because that way that they're moving forward. The Titans have some good players on defense. Jeffrey Simmons specifically on the defensive line. They have Arden Key too. So this was a step forward for the offensive line. A couple of holds, 2 by Titus Howard and 1 by Jake Andrews, and you know they had the OPI by Dalton Schultz. But even though it took forever to get going, and this game was just dreadful until the late third where the Texans finally started to pour it on. There are definitely things to build on. But again, you have to remember that this is a win over the Tennessee Titans. More C.J. Stroud.
C.J. have often talked about the run, even get the run going to really open up your offense. Can you talk about how much that meant today and the work of both backs, but especially the rookie, how that helped you do what you do?
Yeah, it's huge, you know, especially in this style of offense, you know. Running the ball is huge. You know, anything positive on first down helps. And I think, you know, Woody and Chubb did a great job. Even in the past game, like, they did a really good job. But, yeah, that's what it's going to take to win, is having a balanced game. And I thought Kels did a good job of keeping it balanced. And it's just, you know, trusting me in some areas to get us in the right looks and checks and things like that. So I thought, you know, that every game that's huge. You got to be able to run the ball in this league. And, you know, I thought Chubb and Woody, they complement each other really well. And our O-line did it amazing, both run blocking and pass blocking. And then also our tight ends stepped in there and did their job, and receivers as well in the run game.
Take that, analytic dorks. Balance. It's good. I know a lot of people are going to bitch about this going forward, but they got to run to set up the pass, in my humble opinion. I am not getting too excited about a dominant win over the Titans that took forever for them to get into the red zone. Last play of the third quarter, but this strangle mode of a victory is definitely, I think, one that they should try to do going forward. More from C.J. Stroud after the Texans 26-0 win. Jaguars just tried to go for it, 4th and 1. Down, they're winning 17-6 on the road against the Niners. Niners are getting really hyped up because they forced a false start before the Jaguars could attempt that 4th and 1 close to midfield. More C.J. Stroud, Texans quarterback.
What was it like just to see Woody Marks get his first pair of touchdowns, J.D. Higgins, just seeing the two rookies being able to make plays?
Yeah, I was a really big fan of Woody in college when he was at USC. Thought he was really elusive, really, really crafty. And I thought he did a good job, you know, since those days in that Lincoln Riley offense. And I thought today we kind of used him in that light, you know, spread him out, gave him some familiarity, you know, running the ball and some plays that he's ran before. And he's a very dynamic pass catcher. But, yeah, he did great. Hig, you know, is a dog. He's somebody who was, you know, very elusive, great route running.
True on that point about Higgins. I love it when Stroud calls people dogs. He calls everybody a dog. In a good way, not a bad way.
And him one-on-one, you know, a lot of times he's big and he's fast, tall. That's a mismatch. So he did a great job on that touchdown play, and he just continued to get better every week. And I think Jay Noah, same thing. A lot of our rookies are doing great. Tay had a great game. So, you know, a lot of the guys that are doing big things in their first year, you know, it's going to be huge for us.
You mentioned
They got to put the rookies on the field more. Like, if we take anything away from this game, it's that the Texans have got to play their young players on offense more than they have. More from C.J. Stroud.
Higgins touchdown. Can you walk us through what you saw coverage-wise and what made you go to that throw?
Yeah, they were in man, and on film they showed like this this man where they go help, the best player, the best receiver. So I felt 50 was about to go help Neek. And so I just signaled in a route concept that I thought would work. And so, yeah, we executed it very well. They did a good job of, executing the route plan, but I just seen something and I called it and it worked. So, it's going to go that way sometimes. Sometimes it's going to go the other way, but it's all about us. If we're all wrong, we're right. And I think that was that big thing there, and we were right that time and made them pay. So
I like that Stroud checked into a touchdown pass, and I think that's going to give him some confidence at the line of scrimmage going forward. That's going to be a work in progress, much like the offense is going to be a work in progress for the remainder of the year. More from C.J. Stroud.
CJ, as the offense is maybe struggling a little bit in the first half and early portion of the third, are you guys kind of saying to yourself, hey, we're right there, we're really close, like let's get this together, and then it kind of clicks like you said, or is there a little bit like, oh, here we go again?
No, I don't believe in that. So yeah, no, I don't. That's a terrible way to think. You'll be really bad if you're thinking, here we go again in this. And I don't look at myself like that. I don't look at my teammates like that. And I don't think we even played really bad in the first half. We just got to score points.
I mean, it didn't get in the red zone until the end of the third quarter. But hey,
and get better opportunities on second down to be in the third and manageable. So I don't believe in that.
CJ, every win is surely positive, but against a division rival, it's even more important. You could say, knowing your next division rival is until November 9th. Keeping stride and tabs on other teams on the division. Just how important was this win?
We focus on one game at a time. When we play another division opponent, they're always important. Every game is important in this league, so we're focused on one game at a time. And I think when you big scale things too early is when bad things happen. So I'm just 1-0, trying to get 1-0 every week.
I like that he gave a measured answer to that, talking about the Titans. Oh, it's a division rival, blah, blah, blah. Titans fucking suck. Come on, guys. They suck. More Stroud.
Congrats on the win. In terms of how it was orchestrated, this seemed like more like what Nick Caley and you guys have been talking about how you wanted to manufacture drives and run plays. Would you agree with that, and if so, why?
Yeah, I thought Kels, did a good job of mixing it up, run, pass, play action, misdirection. And I think at the end of the day, it's all about execution. Like, he can call anything. We got to go out there and make the plays work. So I thought we handled it better today with, route detail, me being good on my reads. And, of course, this never perfect. Like, there's plays that we always want back. But I think the overall big picture, we kind of hit that point this week in this game. So I think we're going forward, and that's what you want to see.
That time for two more, Hey, CJ, you have taken some hits this year, since you've been in the league.
You got smoked on that one hit, if that's the question that I think that's Kim Davis is asking Stroud about right here. Getting close to the end.
But today you took a couple that seemed, at least to the naked eye, kind of significant, but you seem to really battle through like you have been. Can you talk about your resilience and being able to withstand that and keep punching it?
I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I don't know. I remember, I don't know if I ever told this, but my dad, I remember we were at this basketball game when basketball practice. I was really young. I was probably like 7 or 8. And I remember I got hit somewhere, like probably in my face or something, and I was on the ground, like looking for attention, kind of. And my dad, he gave me a new one, like told me off, and I needed it. And since that moment, since I've been a little boy, I've always kind of like remember that moment and always try to, it's not like playing tough. Like there's a difference between being hurt and injured. Like I think I can get pushed past being hurt, being injured. Like you can't play. So, yeah, that point that always kind of my dad's voice kind of always just, rings in my head, and every time like I'm just like feeling, they hurt. Don't get me wrong, but it's like I don't know. I just think it's something that is kind of instilled in me by my parents, by God. I don't know. It's just something that the spirit in me that I don't know. I don't like quitting. But yeah, I just thank you for seeing that. I don't try to like, I'm tough, because I don't think I'm that tough. And I lift a lot of weights with Clint. Shout out Clint and Mike Eubanks and our strength staff.
That was a funny answer. He did shake it off. I mean, he was limping. I think a lot of people were concerned after that, and especially how much he's been hit the first couple of weeks of the year and how much he got hit last year. But hung in there, came back into the game, and if you're a quarterback, you got to play. He can't be like Anthony Richardson and sub out in the middle of a fucking game. And that's why Richardson's on the bench right now. Even if he was healthy, they would have given it to Daniel Jones. And Colts are 3-0. They're actually hanging in there with L.A. 49ers, meanwhile, driving on the Jaguars. 10-13 to go in the third.
CJ, you all were able to get the offense rolling today, but can you just talk about how good the defense played on against that Titans offense and being able to shut them out?
Yeah, our defense played amazing. Of course, it starts with Aziz, his play calling with D'Amico. Thought they did a great job of mixing coverage and stunning with the D-line and things like that. Man coverage was sticky. Kamari played a great game. Kalen, all the guys in the back. I thought MJ stepped up and did a great job. But yeah, I think like when you hold a team to 0 points in the NFL, like that's big time. Like that doesn't happen a bunch. So yeah, shout out to them boys. They're doing a great job, and I'm very grateful to have a defense like that.
He should be. Look, they're going to win games based off of what their defense does more than they're going to win games based off of what their offense does. That should be obvious to everyone out there. That's the strength of the team. By the end of the year, the hope is that the defense can do the same thing. Ryan Lost in Texas says, yes, 3 sites in one day. Yeah, you've been on YouTube, right? No, you've been on X, you've been on Twitch, and you've been on the gram. More from CJ Stroud before we wrap things up.
How much do you think a win like today, where you guys took care of business on both sides of the ball, was really a decisive victory? How much do you think that can help the team moving forward and as you try to build momentum for the season?
Yeah, that's the game plan. Every week is play three phases of football: special teams, offense, defense, and try to play as one. I thought today was a right step in that direction, but gotta go. You do it again. That's the thing about the NFL. You gotta forget your failures and forget your successes, and try to just move forward. And it's hard to say, but it's easy to say, but hard to do. And we got to be able to just do that, flush this, and go move on and try to win another game. Thank you, guys.
That's it. That's CJ Stroud. By the way, that A.D. Mitchell, what should have been a touchdown, he did, while trying to celebrate, fumble the ball, trying to move the football into his hand so he could celebrate better. And it was a touchback. Woof. Anyway, this was a good win for the Texans over an awful team. They won it by strangling the Titans, specifically their offense, into submission. I don't think you want to get too excited about a dominant win like this, even if it is hard to get a shutout in this league, and even if it's the first Texans shutout, I guess, since I've started covering the team. All cool things, but that's where the Titans are. Cam Ward after the game said that team is cheeks. They are. I wonder if Brian Callahan gets fired tomorrow. But there were some things to get excited about going forward. Offensively, whether it was Woody Marks contributing offensively as a rookie, Jaden Higgins contributing, there are some young players who need to get more playing time. The offensive line did a pretty good job, I think, in terms of run blocking. CJ Stroud stayed upright largely much of the game, and because the Texans played well defensively and because they stuck with the running game and we're not shooting themselves in the foot and putting themselves in second and third and first in unmanageable situations, they were able to stick with it. So Marks has a good game. Chubb has a solid game, 3.6 yards a carry. But you got to feel all right about this. They're 1-3. They blew out a team that's worse than them. The game was not a fun watch until the very end. If you stuck through it with the watch party that we did, we appreciate you for that. And up next, a Baltimore Ravens team that's not playing particularly well, as I say this, against the Ravens. If you haven't already, please make sure that you've liked this video on YouTube and subscribed to my channel at Paul Gallant, or done the same on Twitch at Gallant Says. Give me a sub. I'm on X and Twitter at Gallant Says and at Gallant Says Pod. On Instagram at Sports Gallant. Give me a follow there. On TikTok, banned, at Gallant Says, and on Facebook at Paul Gallant Sports. This show is one that you can catch weekdays from noon Central Time to 1 to 1:30 Central Time. We appreciate everyone who stops by. It's in the same time slot as the radio show that I used to do not so long ago. And after the fact, it's available in podcast forms on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, including this one. Because we do this on weekdays at noon Central Time, but we also do it occasionally after major Houston sporting events. Thank you so much for tuning into today's live show, if you did. Until tomorrow at noon Central Time, so long, farewell, and have yourselves a wonderful rest of your Sunday weekend. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain.